Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Bruce.
And this is Just Beneath the Surface. We are back for our 5th episode. Can you believe it, Bruce?
5.
Number 5.
That means we've done 4, right?
It is. Okay. It does, as a matter of
fact. Just making sure.
And
I got 5 fingers, 4 episodes, 1 more.
And
5.
And no brain cells. I just wanted to say that we were both very...
2 brain cells.
We were both very shocked by the response that we got from episodes 3 and 4 of this. I mean, our viewership at least tripled or quadrupled. I mean, it was...
To 3.
It was incredible.
To 3 people.
77 people.
Thank you.
Yes, we thank you for that. But we've got it. We need your help. We need that to keep going. And how are we going to do that, Bruce? What do they need to do?
Well, if it was up to me, I'd get down on my one knee and go, please subscribe. But Brian's going to tell you what to do.
Okay, well, there are 3 things. First of all, as Bruce said, hit subscribe. When you see this video, go ahead and do that.
Button.
You also want to, it's the
notification bell.
Bell, ding.
Ding.
Yes.
We have a little bell, but we don't have any props. So we do have some props right here, the Twilight Zone, but go ahead.
And then the third thing is to hit like. Which some of you actually did. I couldn't believe it.
And do that again, but this time say, who do you like? Isn't that a song?
Who do you love?
Who do you love? Okay.
Well,
sorry.
So, Bruce, just as a reminder to the new people who are watching us for the first time, what is Just Beneath the Surface?
Just Beneath the Surface is a homage. Is that the right word?
Yeah, you spell it with an H.
Right. You spell a lot of things with an H.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for Rod Serling's The Twilight Zone, the original series, I think from 1959 to 1964 or something.
It's incredible we haven't verified that yet. 5 episodes in, and you keep saying that.
But like you said, 2 brain cells, and that's the way it goes. But anyway, we love, both myself and Brian, we love The Twilight Zone. I watch it a lot, whatever. And we think the messages in there by Serling and the writers, Buck Houghton and those guys, are applicable today, in today's society.
Yep.
I mean, if you really watch those episodes, not just for pure entertainment, and I'm sure you're watching something like, True Lies or something now, or whatever.
That's the 2nd episode in a row where you brought up True Lies. I didn't realize. What's your fascination with that movie?
My fascination, before we get to the...
Is it Jamie Lee Curtis?
No, it's not. It's the fact that I, Bruce, sort of like the older stuff, which I should because I'm old. Mm-hmm. But it seems like in the old movies, and I like a lot of old sci-fi and horror, the only thing that's good today is a lot of explosions, a lot of people getting shot up, a lot of people dying, a lot of people, as opposed to, tenseness, or like Val Lewton produced movies or whatever, where there's like sort of mystery and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Or the corny sci-fi horror movies I watched in the 50s, 60s, which have not the greatest special effects, but I think they're still better. But that's why I keep bringing up True Lies. When I think of True Lies, I think of I like the movie. I like it, but it's all special. A lot of special effects, which that's the only thing that drives some people. Maybe. It's all my opinion.
Okay, but on this show we talk about the Twilight Zone, and normally we stick exclusively with the original Rod Serling TV series.
Right.
Today we're going to do something a little different. We are going to talk about the movie that came out. Paquito?
That's Spanish for little.
Didn't know.
You should never do this. What?
Don't know. But in 1983, 4 of Hollywood's biggest directors came together. They were Steven Spielberg, Joe Dante, George Marshall, and the 4th guy who I can't remember. Oh yeah, John Landis.
Wow.
Who of course we're going to talk about. And the idea, it was Steven Spielberg's idea. What he wanted to do was he wanted to bring these 4 talents together and create an homage, as we've said already, to the original series. Kind of like what we do here, but with a bigger budget.
Right, and they're not as good as us, but still they got a bigger budget. And it's sort of like the thing Creep Show. Remember Creep Show? It's sort of like that, if you've ever seen Creep Show, which has like 4 or 5 episodes, 3 or 4 episodes, but good.
And 3 of those directors decided that they were going to do homages to 3 classic episodes. And the 4th one being John Landis, who was just coming off of that Blues Brothers movie. He had a lot of success with that. He decided he was going to do something different.
That's a good album, too.
He wanted to make an original episode, and he wanted it to be his own creation, and he wanted to make his own Twilight Zone, basically.
Right. It might have been based on an episode, but we're not sure.
There are some similarities, yes.
Right.
And you look at it, so it's 4 different, it's one movie, but it's 4 different stories by 4 different directors. And you look at it and you think that it could have been done over a weekend, because you've got this production going on over here, you've got this production going on over here. But that's not how it was done. In actuality, the movie was filmed in sequence. The first sequence in the movie, which is John Landis's bit with Vic Morrow, that was filmed first.
Where Vic Morrow is a racist, and he says a lot of bad things and all that sort of stuff. But keep going, because I didn't know it was filmed in what?
It was filmed sequentially in the order in which you see them in the movie. The first story being the John Landis story, the second one being Kick the Can, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And As many of you know, when they were filming the Vic Morrow sequence, John Landis was being a little less careful than he should have been, and they were filming out in Indian Dunes, out in California, and they were recreating a Vietnam village sequence. Now, Vic Morrow's character, all through the episode, is a racist, a bigot, and whatnot. John Landis wanted his character to have some sort of redemption. So the sequence they were filming was a Vietnamese village being attacked, and he finds these two children.
Or enlightenment.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
He finds these two children, and he's supposed to rescue them from the evil American chopper pilots who are shooting down on the village.
No, don't do that, please.
So
please don't kill them.
Right. So Morrow grabs the two children, and he's dragging them across a river there. And Landis had the helicopter hovering right above, and he was ordering more explosions, and
with not live explosions.
Yeah.
Really?
He was a realist. He wanted it to be as real as possible. And by the way, the two children, 6 and 7 years old.
I know this part. Underage.
They were underage, and they were filming at midnight. And he went out of his way to get around the child labor laws on that. He just referred to them in the production sheets as the Vietnamese.
Maybe we should ask our producer if you're going to be sued by John Landis now.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, this is all out there, but
it's all out there. There was a trial. There was a book. Darcy Wingo. He was the chopper pilot involved.
He must feel. Look, so what happened?
Anyway, the explosions went off. The helicopter was too close, and it came down, and it landed right on top of Morrow.
Oh my God!
And all three of them were killed. Morrow and the little boy were both decapitated by the chopper blade.
Don't be a little graphic.
Yes.
You're the guy who says you don't like The Thing from 1982 because it's too graphic. And you're talking about kids getting their heads chopped off?
This is what happened. This is what people don't know. The next time you watch and you laugh your head off at that movie, Trading Places, just think to yourself, hey, John Landis made this while he was on trial for murdering two children.
Don't sugarcoat it. Tell him what you feel about.
That's what happened. So anyway.
So was he convicted?
No, he got off. The trial lasted about 5 years, and he was eventually found not guilty. It was a very split decision.
Wow.
Yeah, but it tied up the court for years, and in the process, he made.
God bless those two kids and their parents and their friends, and also Vic Morrow, right? He died too, right?
He made Trading Places, and he also made Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. That was all during the trial.
Wow.
And these are movies that are out there. But anyway.
Are you like his cousin or something?
No.
How do you know all this?
I read a book on it.
Oh.
But where I'm going with all this is that because of the accident and because 2 people or 3 people were killed on set, it's changed the course of the rest of the movie. The kick the can sequence, which is the next one.
Oh, I think Spielberg didn't like that or something.
Spielberg did kick the can.
Right.
And his original intention was not to do Kick the Can. He was going to do a remake of The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street.
Oh, I love that episode. Well, I love Kick the Can too, but Monsters on Maple Street, I love it. Not to break in, but I think it's a good thing on society and how people are just beneath the surface.
Just beneath the surface.
That's the name of our show, by the way. I forgot to say that earlier.
But if you compare the 2 episodes of The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street and Kick the Can, it's apples and oranges. I mean, one is very timely. Well, what I mean by that is
they're both sad, but they're both sad because Kick the Can is like I can't go back to childhood.
Right.
And you viewers out there who are getting older, like me, you're going, well, I wish I had the elixir to live forever. Even if I lived another 50, 60, 70, 80 years, all the stuff I know now, I could carry forward for another, I'd be a genius.
Yep.
Sort of.
So Spielberg, after the accident, first of all, he disassociated himself with John Landis, and he wanted to be as done with the production as possible. He just decided, okay, I'm going to do, because of this accident, because of what happened, we're going to do something a little more family friendly. We're going to do a story about a retirement home and an old guy who comes in and makes everybody feel young again.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that part.
He shot the entire sequence of Kick the Can that's in that movie. They shot it in 6 days, and that was it. He wanted to be as done with it.
I didn't think that was that bad. I think I even told you before, I kind of like the ending for that Kick the Can better than the original Kick the Can ending.
How does the original one end? Or actually, we don't talk about that on this show. Forget I asked that. Don't give away the endings.
We could have a discussion after
this.
Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, number one, watching this podcast, or secondly, who are going to go see the 1961 version of Kick the Can, or even the movie. But anyway, the second one's better. I like the second ending better. That's all I'll say.
I just have to address the elephant in the room. We're right now trying to get a cat out of here before it knocks over the camera.
This is my buddy right here.
Or
you're a good boy.
Or the lights.
Okay.
Yes. Keep walking, cat. So anyway,
High production values here from our producer,
keep going.
Marcus the Great.
So Kick the Can was the second one, and
Right.
how do you watch it? Go back to what you were talking about a minute ago. The movie version versus the TV version. What are the similarities and what are the differences there?
The similarities are that all the actors in the old folks home who turn into kids for like a little while or whatever, all do great jobs. In the original, they do great jobs. And in the sequel or the movie, they do a great job because they dress them up like in these old clothes when they're kids, and they look just like they would look like when they get older. Okay. Whatever. Like we said, we're going to be talking about Billy Mumy, who's in Twilight Zone later. If you look at him as a kid actor, hi Billy.
Thanks for watching.
We want you to come on our podcast, Billy.
Billy, thanks for subscribing.
Yes, thank you very much. But if you look at him as an adult, you'd never know the two were the same. But before I lose my train of thought, I think they do a great job with the kid actors on both sets. But it's just the ending is better on the other one because the guy who keeps saying, "Oh, don't go out there and kick the can," on both episodes. Oh, it's great. You're old. You get old bones. You get old thoughts. You should just lie there and take your medicine and die and do all. And don't act like a kid anymore when you're older. But at the end in the second one, one of the older guys who turned into a kid, he comes, and the thing is, the guy who was against it, saying, "Oh, just be an old guy. You got old bones. You can't." He changes his mind, and goes, "Take me."
Man,
and it's very sad. I know I almost said the ending, but it's a much sadder ending than the other one, where it just shows in the original they just show the kids running away or whatever into the darkness or whatever.
After hearing your description of it, I stand by my justification that it's a boring episode. I can't understand why anyone would want to do that except for what happened during the Vic Morrow sequence. So
because we, to a certain extent, myself and Brian, we both love the Twilight Zone, but we may look at it in different ways, like everybody does. Everybody has filters, perceptions, and that sort of thing. I sometimes look at it as how it affects me emotionally and that sort of thing. And the main one of the tenets of those two kick the cans is the whole thing about getting old. I'd like to meet one person out there saying, "Geez, I'm so happy I'm getting older. I'm so glad I'm like 45 or 55 or 65 side." It's the old joke. Who wants to be 90? The guy who's 89. That's who wants to be 90. But who wants to be 90? Who wants to be 65? I mean, I want to be. Yes.
Oh, wow.
He's a youngster. But I want to be 65 because I am 65. I want to stay. But that whole story is about that concept. And I love concepts like that. It brings out emotion and go, if I capture something of my essence of my youth. And I know everybody but Bruce, and maybe not Bruce, said, "Well, my life is great. I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't. I'd like to live to 200. I'm going to become a vampire so I can." End of sentence.
Well, let's move on to the third sequence that's in that movie. It's a remake of the classic Bill Mumy. You were just talking about a remake of his episode, It's a Good Life, starring, like we said, Bill Mumy was in the original. Mumy. And the kid who did it in the remake, he didn't have much success, but he was on that show, The Hogan Family, which is originally called Valerie.
What was his name?
Valerie.
The dark-haired kid.
His last name was Licht. I don't know how you pronounce that, but
Lichten?
Liked. I don't know. But he was a sitcom kid, and then he
was in some commercials too, I think.
I think so. And he did that movie, and he took on.
It's a Good Life is the episode.
He took on the role of Anthony Fremont, and the bad kid. This particular sequence was directed by Joe Dante,
right?
Who was established as a.
But what can Anthony do? Just to remind the viewers real quick.
Anthony in the original. Why don't you tell what Anthony did in the original?
Well, what he can do is just by thinking, he can obliterate the earth. He can remove. He can make it snow. He can make it rain. He can He can make you disappear. He can turn you into a jack-in-a-box with just your head as a jack-in-a-box.
But he can
do terrible things.
And he had a full-fledged family, a mother, a father, and this whole community that was trapped in this bubble of life.
Because he killed all the TV, he killed all the electricity, he killed everything. And he just, you think about it, and that's, again, the emotion. What would it be like if kids ran the world?
Yep.
How would they think? And maybe, thinking of the world right now, because we say, We want to relate this to current events.
Right.
Maybe it'd be better if kids ran the world. I don't know.
They're not.
Well, I know. Well, okay.
So Joe Dante decided to take it in another direction. He used the same. The idea was the same. A kid who's got all these funky powers.
Right.
But he wanted to do a child who had no family, and what he had to do was he had to abduct strangers.
Well, that's right. That's right. You know, I've never known that all this time.
And they all ended up at this farmhouse that he had created.
This guy is smart.
Yes.
He knows Twilight. Go ahead, keep going.
Well, I know this movie.
You do.
I do. And so he's out at the beginning of the episode. The beginning of the episode, he's in a little cafe, a little roadside diner, and he's playing the Gyrus video game, and he keeps smacking it. And the video game is interrupting the football game. And who is the diner customer who complains to the kid?
Vic Morrow.
No. You're close though.
Billy Mummy.
There you go. Billy Mummy. It is
Billy Mummy.
He's Billy Mummy. He's only got he's only got one line in the whole movie. Is
that really him?
Yeah. Tell a kid to stop hitting the game or whatever, something like that.
You do know this movie.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Continue.
So anyway, he meets I think her name's Eileen Quinlan. I think that's what her name was, the actress. And they have a little accident, a little fender bender out in the parking lot. She's backing up her Ford Rabbit.
Hits his bicycle.
Hits the bicycle. He goes down, and he's like, "Oh, you got to drive me home now."
Uh-oh. That's how they abduct.
And
a reversal, abducting adults.
Yep. And they get back. She takes him home. She feels bad about it, where she's introduced to what she believes is his family. And who plays the uncle?
Kevin McCarthy.
Yes.
Right there. He's up on my wall from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1958. 1956. Mm-hmm. God, I can't forget. One of my favorite movies.
Anthony also has two sisters, and one of them is done by an actress by the name of Nancy Cartwright.
Oh.
And if you don't know,
Lost in Space?
No, not her. That's
Angela Cartwright.
That's Angela Cartwright. Nancy Cartwright is the voice of Bart Simpson on The Simpsons,
my God.
and she plays the sister. And ironically enough, Anthony,
I just wind him up and let him go. That's all.
A little later in the story, little Anthony sends her into a cartoon, which is kind of ironic because 10 years later, she's doing the voice of Bart Simpson.
Yeah, that is kind of weird, but that's a scary part in that scene.
Yes.
Whatever. But just to quickly, I think the first, It's a Good Life, the original, is a lot scarier.
It is. It's much scarier.
It's a lot tenser. It's a lot. In the second one, I'm more like just angry at the kid. But in the first one, how everybody acts and then so afraid and. Well, you know, it's a good thing you said that, Brian. It's a really real good thing you said that. The way they act, Cloris Leachman and those people, I watch it today and I get like tense.
And once again,
pick up the lamp and hit him over the head.
And once again, you see the effect of the John Landis sequence on this episode as well, because it ends with a happy ending, which is not supposed to happen in the Twilight Zone. It's supposed to be more, ambiguous or what's going on, scary. But no, she decides to, you just leave it at that.
But it does it is a happy type ending, sort of, because you don't know what happened to all the other people, but for them it is. Okay.
Right, and let's get into the final sequence, which is a remake of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, the original William Shatner classic.
Bill, we want you to subscribe. Bill Shatner, we want you to subscribe to. We want to meet you.
Hey, Bill, you're going into space here in a few months. You could at least do our podcast.
He is?
He is. He's going up into space, 90 years old.
Well, what's his name? Epoch? Or what
exactly.
The real
They're sending him up. But anyway, so we get John Lithgow doing this remake.
Who I think did a really good job.
Yep.
Not as good as Shatner, but a really good job.
Oh, and here's another little piece of trivia about that sequence. It takes place on an airplane, obviously.
Right.
One of the flight attendants in that movie was played by...
In the original?
No, in the remake.
Oh, man, you got me on that. Go ahead.
One of the flight attendants was played by Carol Serling, who was, of course, Rod Serling's widow. He had passed...
Are you kidding me?
I'm completely serious. He had died 8 years earlier. But they gave her...
Oh, they're not that close together. I mean, the original and the movie.
They are about 20 years apart, but Serling died in the interim, and they gave her... By the way...
His wife is Carol.
Carol Serling.
Right.
By the way, he died in 1975. Rod Serling died in 1975.
51.
She died just last year in 2020, in January 2020. She outlived him by almost about half a century.
God bless her.
But anyway, she played one of the flight attendants. She doesn't have any lines. She's just there.
Oh, that's cool. I'll tell you why when I see that, watch that.
Yeah. So Lithgow, tell me about Lithgow's performance compared to
I think it was good. I think it was great. I mean, just again, like I said about It's a Good Life, that tenseness, and that's why our producer, he's an actor or whatever, and I keep telling, I'd love to be an actor. I'd love to do that sort of stuff where both him and Shatner in that really just that sort of tension. I know the first ghoul out on the wing for the first one, it looks kind of goofy or whatever.
Right.
But when you open up that thing and just, I mean, I'm still like, and Lithgow does this thing about just like when you're looking terrified. Like I don't know if I could just like, Brian, look terrified. Yes, this ghoul, right? That's the guy on the edge of the plane, right there. It's great, and Shatner does a great job too. I think Shatner does a great job in everything he does.
Yep.
But I mean, just especially when he shoots out and he screams and he's yelling when he has the gun out and it's raining.
Shatner even played a hooker once.
That's another episode for us people. I lost that, but I think both episodes were great. But I still, again, maybe just me when I saw it first, the original. I still like the original first.
Yep.
The Shatner one first because I think it's good.
So here's our epilogue on that movie. It was filmed in the summer of 1982.
82.
It was released in the summer of 83. And it had a lot of box office competition that summer. It got crushed. It did not do very well.
The Thing.
The third Star Wars movie came out that summer.
Oh, didn't E.T. come out too?
No, that was 82.
Right, 82, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but in the summer of 83, there were a lot of big blockbusters that year. So
Name one.
I just said Return of the Jedi,
okay.
the third Star Wars movie.
Good.
So it kind of disappeared. It found its way, and then the trial went on for a few years, and then it found its way to home video. But
like a lot of movies, it catches on later on.
It's kind of a cult classic. I think you can call it that.
Yeah. So we recommend it.
So that's all we got to say about the Twilight Zone.
Yes, remember, subscribe, notification bell, hit the like button. Would appreciate it. And Billy Mummy, Bill Shatner.
And once again,
thank you for watching. I know you are out there somewhere and lost in space.
Once again, I have the last word.
Yes.